This will have to go down, I think, as the oddest ownership in Seattle history and one of the oddest in professional sports nationwide. Yamauchi was never a baseball fan. He never saw the Mariners play. He never engaged at all. But people really need to keep in mind that he saved baseball in Seattle.
Hi there, welcome to Thomas Game Docs. So, Nintendo have made some weird corporate moves over the years. Some have paid off, like a console with a motion-sensitive TV remote for a controller.
We would like to play.
Others, not so much.
Virtual Boy, see it now in 3D.
But not all of Nintendo's much-loved weirdness comes down to corporate gambles. Sometimes a guy just wants to buy a baseball team, goddammit! And so today I'd like to tell you the story of Nintendo's, or rather, one man at the helm of Nintendo's, $100 million purchase of a Seattle baseball team.
Live from Tiger Stadium in Detroit, Michigan, Pass Sports presents Major League Baseball.
Let us travel back to the year 1991. In Seattle, America, the local baseball team, the Seattle Mariners, had fallen on hard times. They had only been established in 1977, and during these first 14 years, the team had struggled to attain any meaningful long-term success. And so the team's current owner, a man by the name of Jeff Smulyan, was becoming unsettled. What was the future of his team? Would he have to sell it off, or even worse, disband it? Well, not long afterwards, he stumbled upon what he thought to be the answer to this question. A rich businessman from Tampa, Florida, called Frank Morzani, came to him with a proposal. "Sell your team to me and move them to Florida," he suggested. Now, this would be a 3,000-mile move, but the deal was hard to resist. The future of the team in Seattle was looking grim, and this seemed to be his silver bullet. And so Smulyan began preparing the paperwork for this deal to go ahead. According to some early evidence, it seemed likely that the move would be approved by the American Baseball League. Everything was finally looking up for Jeff. However, one local politician was unhappy. A Washington senator by the name of Slade Gorton decided he could not let this deal go through. This was his local team, the community's local team. And so he resolved to use everything in his power to prevent this 3,000-mile move. He started searching for new owners, potential owners, to take the team's helm, as it were. But this was an expensive proposition, and a risky one too. The team hadn't exactly been successful, and they needed a heck of a lot of money to keep them in Seattle. As one newspaper wrote at the time, they needed an angel. Luckily for Gorton, he had an angel of his own. You see, on December 23rd, 1991, Gorton received a phone call that he described as the best Christmas gift of my life. Hiroshi Yamauchi, CEO of Nintendo, from all the way over in Japan, 8,000 kilometers from where the Seattle Mariners were based, would contribute $100 million to the purchase of the team. Why? Well, Seattle was the home of Nintendo of America, where the company had built their international empire. If it hadn't been for Seattle, perhaps Nintendo's games would have stayed in Japan. As Yamauchi explained in an interview, Japan has the United States to thank for its miraculous post-war recovery and economic growth, and Nintendo has also been allowed to do business in America. I owe a great deal to the United States and want to do everything in my power to pay it back. Yamauchi didn't see this purchase as a business investment. He saw it as a form of community service, you might say. But beyond that, Yamauchi had a debt to repay. In Nintendo's early years of massive video game success, piracy had been rampant, to say the least. Knockoff Nintendo products were flooding the market, and consumers were often struggling to tell the real deal from all these fakes. But one US senator had stepped in to the company's aid. The chairman of the Congress Committee of the US Senate passed legislation that massively curbed this intellectual piracy, helping Nintendo out a great deal. And the identity of this senator? Slade Gorton. This purchase was Yamauchi's chance to properly thank him for what he did for the company. Alright, so the deal was settled. Yamauchi would contribute $100 million to the purchase, alongside a further $50 million or so that Slade Gorton collected from local, smaller donors. The day was saved, as it were. Or at least that's what Slade and Yamauchi thought. Unfortunately, the battle wasn't quite over yet. Their next big opponent was, racism. It seemed inconceivable to the American Baseball League that the Mariners could be sold to a foreign owner, much less an owner from Japan of all places. Baseball execs talked of protecting baseball from Japan. Yeah, they weren't even trying to veil their xenophobia. These guys were just racist. They didn't want a Japanese owner to buy this US team. And they were powerful too. It seemed like they might be able to put a stop to this investment. Their deal was grinding to a halt. Maybe all would be lost. But in the face of this, one man came to Nintendo's aid, and it's someone you might not expect. The son of the president of the time, George W. Bush. Bush convinced all the other baseball team owners that this buyout was the best thing for the team. US baseball needed it. If these owners really cared about baseball, they needed to vote to approve this deal. And Bush's lobbying ended up working. The sale was approved. Now, Yamauchi was initially limited to a less than 50% stake in the team, despite investing considerably more than 50% of the cash. But the fact that this deal was approved at all was a minor miracle considering the climate of the time. And under this new ownership, the team experienced a huge boom, success for the next 10 years, the likes of which the Mariners had never experienced in their previous 10. Hooray! Now, in 2004, Hiroshi Yamauchi decided to sell his stake in the team directly to Nintendo of America, since this was, after all, the company directly based in the Seattle area. And over the coming years, the company brought a few Nintendo touches to Mariners games. They regularly brought out the Mario mascot, who would often parade around the pitch, much to the delight of any kids in the audience. Oh, and in 2007, they even rolled out this DS app called Fan Network. For a small fee, anyone with a DS could order food and drinks, look up information about any players from the Mariners, and even watch the live TV broadcast of the game. Pretty nifty. But all good things must come to an end. And so in 2016, Nintendo finally decided to give up ownership of the team, at least most of it. As this article states, they kept a 10% stake just in case the DS suddenly comes back in fashion and there's an overwhelming demand for the Fan Network to return to Marina's games. But this sale netted the company a pretty hefty return on their investment, $650 million. Neat. I suppose it just goes to show that sometimes the strangest purchases can be the most lucrative ones of all. At least that's what I'll tell myself next time I'm buying baked beans on Amazon at 2 a.m. Hey, thanks for watching to the end. I hope you found that interesting. For more lost chapters in the history books of gaming, be sure to subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter at ThomasGdocs. Okay, see you next week. It'll be a hoot. Bye.